In a major victory against terrorism, Interpol, in collaboration with Afripol, successfully apprehended 37 individuals suspected of involvement in terrorism in East Africa. This operation, spanning November and December 2024, targeted individuals linked to two notorious terrorist organizations, the Islamic State and Al-Shabaab. The arrests, which took place across 8 East African countries, are a testament to the growing international cooperation in combating terrorism. The operation, dubbed Operation Eastern Shield, was meticulously planned and executed, involving intelligence sharing, coordinated raids, and the deployment of specialized counter-terrorism units. The operation sent shockwaves through the region, demonstrating the reach and capabilities of law enforcement agencies in disrupting terrorist networks. The arrests have dealt a significant blow to the operational capacity of both the Islamic State and Al-Shabaab in East Africa. East Africa has become an increasingly volatile region, grappling with the growing threat of terrorism. The presence of groups like the Islamic State and Al-Shabaab has cast a long shadow over the region, threatening stability and security. The Islamic State, known for its brutality and global ambitions, has gained a foothold in parts of East Africa, exploiting existing conflicts and grievances to recruit and radicalize followers. Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda affiliate, has been a persistent threat in Somalia and the surrounding region, carrying out numerous attacks targeting civilians and security forces. These groups thrive on instability and exploit weak governance to establish safe havens and training camps. Their presence has had a devastating impact on the region, displacing communities, hindering economic development, and undermining the rule of law. The Islamic State, also known as ISIS or ISIL, is a jihadist terrorist organization that gained global notoriety for its brutal tactics and its self-proclaimed caliphate in Iraq and Syria. Despite suffering territorial defeats in the Middle East, the group remains a potent threat, with affiliates and networks spanning across continents. Driven by an extremist ideology that justifies violence against non-believers, the Islamic State seeks to establish a global caliphate governed by its strict interpretation of Islamic law. The group's propaganda, disseminated through sophisticated online platforms, targets vulnerable individuals, inciting them to commit acts of violence. The Islamic State's presence in East Africa poses a significant threat to regional stability and international security. The group's ability to recruit and radicalize individuals, combined with its access to funding and weapons, makes it a formidable adversary. Al-Shabaab, meaning the youth in Arabic, is an Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group that has been waging a violent insurgency in Somalia for over a decade. The group seeks to overthrow the Somali government and establish an Islamic emirate governed by its interpretation of Sharia law. Al-Shabaab has been responsible for numerous attacks in Somalia and neighboring countries, targeting civilians, government officials, and security forces. The group's tactics include suicide bombings, car bombings, and assassinations, often resulting in mass casualties. Beyond Somalia, Al-Shabaab has demonstrated its ability to strike outside its traditional areas of operation, carrying out attacks in Kenya, Uganda, and other countries in the region. The group's resilience, adaptability, and cross-border capabilities make it a persistent threat to regional security. Section 5. Financing terror, the lifeblood of violence. Terrorist organizations like the Islamic State and Al-Shabaab rely on a complex web of financing mechanisms to fund their operations, recruit members, and spread their ideology. These groups are adept at exploiting both legal and illegal channels to secure the funds they need. These funding sources can range from legitimate businesses and criminal activities to donations from sympathizers and state sponsors. They often mask their operations under the guise of charitable organizations or small businesses. One of the primary ways terrorist groups generate revenue is through extortion, kidnapping for ransom, and the illicit taxation of local populations in areas under their control. These methods not only generate income but also instill fear and maintain control over the local populace. They also engage in criminal activities such as human trafficking, smuggling, and the trafficking of drugs and weapons. These illicit trades are highly profitable and difficult to trace, making them attractive options for funding. Cutting off the flow of funds to terrorist organizations is crucial to disrupting their activities and weakening their capabilities. Financial investigations and anti-terrorism enforcement play a vital role in this effort. International cooperation is essential to track and disrupt these financial networks, as terrorist financing often transcends borders, involving individuals and entities in multiple countries. Collaborative efforts between nations can significantly hinder the financial lifelines of these dangerous groups. Section 6. Radicalization and propaganda, spreading the seeds of hatred. Terrorist organizations invest heavily in propaganda and recruitment efforts to spread their ideology, attract new followers, and incite violence. They exploit social media, online forums, and other platforms to disseminate their message, targeting vulnerable individuals susceptible to radicalization. Terrorist propaganda often glorifies violence, portrays a distorted view of reality, and promotes a narrative of grievance and victimhood. They exploit existing social, economic, and political tensions to sow discord and recruit individuals who feel marginalized or disenfranchised. Countering terrorist propaganda and preventing radicalization require a multifaceted approach that involves governments, civil society organizations, and the private sector. This includes promoting critical thinking skills, fostering interfaith dialogue, and providing alternative narratives that challenge extremist ideologies. Section 7. Building bombs and planting fear, the arsenal of terror. Terrorist organizations employ a range of weapons and tactics to carry out their attacks, instilling fear and sowing chaos. These can include firearms, explosives, knives, and even vehicles. Each weapon is chosen for its potential to cause maximum harm and disruption. Vehicles, often used in a manner designed to maximize casualties, can turn a crowded place into a disaster zone within moments. The aftermath is always devastating, leaving behind a trail of destruction and panic. Improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, have become a weapon of choice for many terrorist groups, including the Islamic State and Al-Shabaab. These devices are particularly insidious because they can be hidden almost anywhere. These devices, often constructed using readily available materials, can be easily concealed and detonated remotely, causing significant damage and loss of life. The unpredictability of IEDs makes them a constant threat. The proliferation of small arms and light weapons, coupled with the availability of bomb-making instructions online, poses a significant challenge to law enforcement agencies worldwide. The internet has made it easier for terrorists to access the knowledge they need to create these deadly devices. International cooperation is crucial to stem the flow of illegal weapons and disrupt the networks that supply terrorist organizations. Collaborative efforts among nations can significantly reduce the threat posed by these dangerous groups. Section 8. A triumph of collaboration. Interpol and Afripol join forces. The recent operation in East Africa exemplifies the importance of international cooperation in combating terrorism. This joint effort showcased the strength and unity of global law enforcement agencies working together to ensure safety and security. Interpol, the world's largest international police organization, played a key role in coordinating the operation, bringing together law enforcement agencies from across Africa and beyond. Their expertise and resources were pivotal in the success of this mission. Afripol, the African Union's law enforcement agency, provided crucial support on the ground, sharing intelligence, coordinating operations, and providing logistical assistance. Their local knowledge and networks were invaluable in navigating the complexities of the region. The operation's success highlights the growing capabilities of African law enforcement agencies in addressing transnational security threats. This collaboration has significantly enhanced their ability to respond swiftly and effectively. The operation involved months of planning and coordination, demonstrating the commitment of the international community to tackling terrorism in all its forms. The meticulous preparation ensured that all aspects of the mission were covered. The arrests send a strong message to terrorist groups that they cannot operate with impunity and that the world is united in its determination to bring them to justice. This operation is a testament to the power of international collaboration in maintaining global peace and security. Section 9. The long road ahead, sustaining the fight against terrorism. The arrest of 37 terror suspects in East Africa marks a significant victory in the fight against terrorism, but the threat remains real and constantly evolving. Terrorist organizations are resilient, adaptive, and constantly seeking new ways to exploit vulnerabilities and carry out attacks. The international community must remain vigilant and united in its efforts to counter terrorism. This includes sharing intelligence, disrupting terrorist financing, countering extremist ideologies, and addressing the root causes of terrorism, such as poverty, inequality, and political instability. The fight against terrorism is not just a security challenge, it is a societal one. It requires a comprehensive and sustained effort that involves governments, civil society organizations, and individuals worldwide.